November 2021. It's 20 months since everything changed. Sometimes March 2020 feels like only a few minutes ago. Sometimes it feels like a decade or longer. A lot can happen in 20 months. For instance, I've become a dad twice during the pandemic. Two beautiful baby girls, Irish twins, Neo and Doxy. Now, both my girls have spent their entire lives living mostly in lockdown. And becoming a dad during the pandemic has left me with all sorts of questions. Questions like, what are we doing right now? What sort of future are we designing? What are we going to do to ensure we are truly compassionate, and are we doing enough? How will we emerge from this time stronger, with more care, with a willingness to face the big, dangerous questions? Will we emerge from this time with integrity? Now, I'm proud to represent Torrens University tonight. Our vision is connect the world for good, and that vision, connect the world for good, is hollow and nothing without compassion. So I want to set the scene tonight with a few lessons we've learned during the pandemic, because I believe what's happened at Torrens in itself is a rather interesting case study for other businesses and a perspective that we should now proudly share. Let me set the scene. Torrens has buckled many of the downward trends in international education. Our business has grown. Our president, Linda Brown, made a promise at the beginning of the pandemic to keep our teachers teaching and to keep our students learning. Now, that promise inspired us and it kept us going, because it's been about genuine innovation, ensuring huge public good, and we've done this as a B Corp and as a private university. We made our short courses free. We handed out $89 million in scholarships. We designed MOOCs and online digital experiences, which have now engaged 270,000 people. But let me be real about this. It's not been a walk in the park. It's been tough, probably the most difficult operating environment imaginable. But even though it's been tough, Torrens has genuinely brought care and compassion into the core of what we do. Now, Seth, I know your conversation with Mary Freer this evening will look at whether compassion can flourish alongside capitalism. And I've got to tell you, if anything, this question has got us fired up. Despite all the challenges that this moment in time has presented, Torrens has been trying to do this every day in every sort of imaginable way. And today we launch a report about how Torrens University has responded to the pandemic. It's a 100-page report about our social impact, but it's more than that. It's a call to action, a manifesto, a reflection on how we've led with care, connection, community. And a few things stand out to me. Our role as a B Corporation, and how we've become prouder and louder as being one of the few universities in the world to be a certified B Corp. Now, Torrens has always been about being a university of the future, but the pandemic has catapulted that. Let me give you one example. Virtual reality. We're part of the team that has designed a 3D virtual reality experience, fundamentally about climate change in Antarctica. Thin Ice opens at the Adelaide Museum this Friday. It's a state-of-the-art, innovative piece, but it also tells us something about the future of learning. Early on in the pandemic, our partners in the hospitality sector had to lay off thousands of staff members. So what did we do? Well, we made all of our online short courses free to them. And now tens of thousands of Australians have completed Torrens short courses, many more going on to do our digital badges, building their future employability skills. We became stronger and more staunch in our belief of an education without borders. Now, this is what the first ever Virtual Careers Festival was all about. It involved all Australian universities, every single one, meaning it wasn't just Torrens looking after our own interests, but instead, well, we all have strengths and we all have a role to play to ensure the greater good. When you can step up, you should, and that's what we did. Probably the most important thing, well, we focused on our values. We have 5 values that guide us. begin and end with people. Be good. Be creative and be bold. Be global. And we introduced a further value during the pandemic. Be well. Focus on wellness. Focus on health. Focus on your whole self. A healthy business will ultimately be more successful. It's no good for us growing as a business if our staff and our students are not well. Now, one example of this value in action, we worked with Beyond Blue and we created a massive online open course, free to the general public during the height of the pandemic, all about understanding depression. Depression is a topic that's really close to home for me, and I found this course vital. It generated conversation, connection, and community. And as a result of all of these case studies, all of this work, a new ambition for Torrens has emerged. To have happiness as one of our main measures of success. Imagine this. Torrens University is the happiest, healthiest, and most connected university on the planet. Students and staff who are happy, healthy, employed, designing the futures of industry, champions of change. Alumni who are agents of change, doers, connectors, listeners. So Torrens is here tonight, part of this conversation, because ultimately it's about adding value and creating greater connections, a new connection. So what have we learned in the past 20 months? Well, 7 minutes is not long enough to properly answer that question, nor is a 100-page social impact report. We've learned so much. Compassion won't begin and end with COVID. It will begin and end with people. So here's a provocation to begin tonight. Can compassion flourish alongside capitalism? Yes. But only if business like ourselves, bring real and authentic values properly to the forefront. Only if we lead with care, and only if we lead with compassion. Ultimately, the answer is yes, if enough businesses can say, we are part of something bigger. We're part of something bigger than ourselves. Now this means the Sustainability Development Goals, ESG, corporate social responsibility. Well, it's not an annex or something separate to your core mission. Instead, it's all tied together. It's November 2021. The grandparents are able to visit baby Neo and baby Doxy again. And at the same time, we're watching the final days of COP26 unfold. And I look at my daughters and I think we must do everything we can to ensure them and their brothers and sisters around the world inherit the beginning of something new. Perhaps a new approach to how we live and how we do work on this planet. And if this is the case, well, business must play a leading role. And that leading role will only come to fruition if it's led through care and compassion. And now I've got to go and see baby Neo and baby Doxy. Thanks.